what I'll say. Change in behavior. Someone who used to talk so much and then suddenly the person is quiet, that is a signal. And then there are others who used to be very quiet and then suddenly they talk too much, non-stop, so fast you can't keep up with the pace. There's a problem there. I think those ones who are moody, quiet, are the ones we easily discover. But there are those who also become overly excited, especially if it is seasonal. That after 2 years, someone behaves in a certain way. After every 2 years, we know there are issues there. So, feeling excessively sad or confused. And then there's still one you haven't mentioned. When you fail, someone may fail to concentrate on something they are doing. So if they are students, suddenly their performance goes down. And if you're in class, a child seems not to concentrate. That may be something to be looked at. There's also change in eating habits. Thank you very much. It can be an increase or a decrease. Suddenly someone who used to take 1 plate takes 3. Be worried. And I know many people, when they are stressed, a number, yes, their appetite dips, but there are those who eat too much, especially junk food, and then they add weight. You think this person is doing very well. The person is very sick. Sleeping habits. Sleeps too much or sleeps too little. In fact, I forgot to mention that also part of mental disorders. Oh, yes, I did. Sleep-wake disorders. When you have insomnia or you have problems sleeping, you find people, you leave someone in bed, maybe an adolescent, a teenager, someone in bed from morning till morning, only going to the toilet, back to bed. There's a problem. Too much sleep. And then there are those who can't sleep. There's also changes in sex drive. Suddenly your spouse is no longer interested. And this is mostly due to depression. And there is difficulty in perceiving reality. For me, I've come across this many times. When someone thinks that people are out to harm them. These people who have fear that maybe when they go to a gathering, there's someone who may poison them. There's someone who doesn't like them. Or they think they're in love with someone who is famous, very popular. They are called delusions, when your thinking is distorted. Overuse of alcohol and drugs. Another common one is when you have headaches, stomach aches, and other aches that cannot be explained. That you have pains just all over and they cannot be explained medically. You go for all tests, there's nothing. The headache is not going away. As long as you have ruled out any medical issues, consider seeking mental help. And one that is on the rise these days, suicidal ideation. People feel that the only way out is taking their lives. Inability to carry out daily activities or handle daily problems and stress. Someone is no longer interested in going to work, going to school. They are no longer doing the things that they are supposed to do. Accompanied by other symptoms, it is a cause for worry. And people may ask, do children have mental problems? Yes, they do. Though for them it is hard for them to explain their symptoms, but we look at these behaviorally. Changes in school performance, there's excessive worry and anxiety. There's a time here I say they retrogress. A child who had stopped bedwetting suddenly starts bedwetting. They withdraw. They are no longer interested in friends. Or when you mention someone or something, they are no longer interested, they throw tantrums, frequent disobedience and aggression, they may be communicating. Now, when we face these problems, what do we do? When we have these problems, the big ones, psychotic problems, when you go home and then your auntie tells you, there's something crawling through me, I can feel it on the feet, on my head, on my neck, what do you do? Kwa mganga A, mganga B, mganga C. Or they tell you, I saw it, I saw it. Na ukijaribu kuona na you are not seeing anything, they are seeing things. They are not bewitched, they are mentally ill, and they need help. So seek professional help. These days our hospitals are quite equipped. Go to any hospital and say you need the counseling department, you'll be helped. But now I'm talking about us who are not yet suffering extremely. How can we help ourselves, and how can we help the people we are living with? When we see those we are connected with have one or two of these symptoms, and then you know maybe they have faced a rough stretch in their lives. Maybe they have faced trauma. I can imagine the lady who was terrorized by the motorbike guys. Not only that scenario, you know someone has faced something like a job loss, death of a loved one, relationship issues, things like divorce, they can cause trauma. How are we to help these people? Or when they face us? Because at one time or another, we have had these issues. Maybe something happened to you and you lost all energy. Energy to come to church, to go to work, to cook for your babies, to visit your parents. When you have low energy and for a prolonged period of time, what should we do? So I came up with practical things that we can do. Connect with others. You can join support groups, and you'll be surprised when you have an intention of reaching out. You may find you are not the only one who has these issues. But when these things happen to us, we think we are the first ones, we are the ones who have seen the worst. But the Bible says the temptation that has faced you is not the worst that has happened to humanity. The Lord has made provisions. So please connect with others. Try reaching out others in similar situations. Try to stay positive. These things have happened. And I believe in anything and everything that happens, however difficult it is to admit, there is always a positive side. Try looking for it. In fact, at that time, it may not make sense. And the first step in processing this is accepting. In fact, allow yourself to live through the moment when it happens. When something shocking has happened to you, when something beyond you has happened and it affects you, live the moment, do not deny. In fact, do not feel guilty for feeling sad, for feeling overwhelmed, for feeling like it is too much. Feel the moment, go through the moment, then start connecting, start seeking professional help. Another thing, forgive, let go. Part of some of the mental issues people face are from what people have done to them. Maybe you faced a difficult childhood. Your parents abused you. The people you were living with abused you. And it went on for a long time. If you are sick as a child, the sickness will not just disappear. There has to be an intervention. Yes, it can be divine, but psychological is very important. Let go. Holding on to bitterness eats you fast. And people sometimes mistake forgiveness. They think that when you forgive, suddenly, like a switch, whatever you are feeling disappears. No, it is a process. Or sometimes people also think that when they ask you for forgiveness, the relationship is restored immediately. No. But willing to forgive is being willing to let go, to admit, yes, it has happened, but I'm no longer bitter. Now this is a new norm that I have to live with. Get physically active. Whatever is happening within you is like energy trapped in there, like gas in a balloon. So if you do not have a way of letting out this energy, there will be an implosion. The pressure within must find an exit. And the exit may be unhealthy. So exercise. And when you exercise, your body releases feel-good hormones, and it will help you stabilize. Help others, care for others, reach out to others, get enough sleep, eat well. Nutrition is also key. Avoid junk. Take a break. And this one I'll talk to the ladies. For the men, I don't know. Take a break. Change the scene. Find some me time. When the babies have woken you the whole night, the whole year, 2 years, take a break. Even leave the kids with the father alone. Take a break. Change the scene. Go somewhere else, just have a rest even for a day or two. In fact, the ills of this generation is being too busy. We are too pressured. Too pressured. Find some time, go away. And in line with this, do something you are good at or enjoy. Rediscover yourself. When you were a child, you used to say, I love singing, I love drawing, I love this and that. Are you pursuing your interest still now? Or when you became an adult, it stopped? When you became too busy with work, with family, are you still pursuing the inner child in you, the carefree person? So find some time every day. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, do something you enjoy. If you love meditation, go sit on the balcony, look outside, sing, listen to music, write, read, do something. Talk about it. The men have been educated, wewe ni mwanaume usionge. And they are the ones who are affected, especially with depression. Why? In fact, they do not know how to talk. They do not know how to share their problems. How does a man start telling another man, unajua hii na hii imefanyika? How does it start? Very hard. How does it start? In fact, mtamwambia kuna umama, si ndio? But in that process, we are suppressing them. We are repressing what they are feeling. And then these problems face them. Learn to talk. Okay, sometimes if you fear telling the people that know you, then go somewhere. Look for a counselor somewhere in another city. Or talk to someone, even online. There's counseling online these days. Talk to someone. Just don't let the problem sit with you. And then those of us connected to the men in our lives, our brothers, our fathers, our colleagues, let's try reaching out to them and telling them whatever you are facing is normal. Accept who you are. Because there are people who have mental disorders as a result of not accepting their weaknesses, of having body image issues. You imagine that you would have been more beautiful if you were like someone else. If you are a little bigger, a little smaller, a little taller, a little shorter. If you had this talent, that other talent, this number of friends, accept where you are, accept who you are. That will take away some pressure from you. Another one that I'd like us to practice beginning today, and which is very practical. Maintain gratitude. Practice gratitude. When things are happening to us, it is very hard to know that we are blessed. But the song says, count your blessings one by one. One by one. When you just thank God for the sun. You thank God for just waking you up. When you sit down and begin to think of things that you should be grateful for, even some stress goes away. You can have a gratitude journal where every day you thank God for just 1, 2, 3 things. And that will change your outlook to life. And the biggest of them all, seek divine help, pray. The Lord is ever a present help, closer than the closest brother. Now my own opinion. To the cases I've met, and those that are not very extreme, especially to do with relationships or things that you can't change. There are things that are happening in the world beyond your control that may make you have mental issues. The economic situation, natural disasters, problems facing our close family members or your friends, those things may affect you. What do you do? Question for thought. And now, in relationships, when the people you are related to, the people you are interacting with, now to the youth, even to the married, when your relationships go south, it is very easy to blame yourself. You may think you are responsible for that other person's behavior. You may think that you did not try enough, that maybe you have some kind of failure. I would like to say, take responsibility for your actions. If there's something you can do, do it. But these people who wrong you, many times they also control you. They make you feel guilty. They make you feel guilty for the things that you do. Now my simple solution I've found is this. When you have tried everything, when you have tried talking, solving, communicating, involving third parties, chief, change your reaction. You are in a relationship with someone, they are doing things that maybe hurt you. The greatest temptation, first, is to blame yourself, is to give up, but change your reactions, because usually when two people are connected, you also have a part in whatever is happening. Someone may annoy you, but it is within your power to control your reaction. Change your reaction, change your response, and these things will change. So what is mental health in summary? It is cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being. When I say cognitive, I mean in the way that we think. Cognitive has to do with when things have happened to you or you have seen situation, then your thought processes become distorted. You have met someone, I'll repeat, who keeps saying, watu wananitafuta. You've had those kinds of things. Or maybe when you are passing someone and then someone didn't greet you, you think, uyo hanipendi, ananichukia, and that may not be true. Those are distortions. And then someone may take it further, especially for adolescents. They may think, it looks like I'm not good enough. So challenge those thoughts. When you change the way you think, the situation also changes. So before I finish, anyone with a question, you are welcome. Questions? Someone else? All right.
Good afternoon. I hope we've learned something. So I have two things to add on. Number one ni what we expose our minds to. Wanasemanga what you feed your mind is what you become. Na tumeanza kuwa na a culture where we excite our minds such that when the mind is not in a state of excitation, we feel like we have no energy to go on because we watch movies that are so fast. We're always in social media. We are living a fast-paced life through our phones, through our televisions. That is why sometimes there are disorders kama inaitwa granda. You feel like you are living somebody else's life. That's why you will find people are they stalk famous people. They live like they are not living in their life. They speak very big things, but in real life they are very humble people, because we have exposed ourselves to a fast life through social media. So when we don't have, when our mind now comes to a state of rest from the excitation, we feel like we have lost all energy. So let's try and control what we expose ourselves to. And another thing is nutrition. Nutrition plays a very big role in maintaining our mood. And sugar, researchers found that it excites the brain so much, such that when you haven't had sugar for a while, after you are used to so much sugar, you might feel like you have no energy. That's why you feel, leo sina mood. I don't know, it's for ladies. I will ask a question and you will confirm. When we are almost having our menses, sometimes you feel like you are so moody, right? And you may crave sugary things. After you've had the sugar, how do you feel? Like some of your mood has come back. And that is what sugar does. When you take a lot of it, it excites your brain, it excites your neurons. So when you're used to so much sugar and you're off sugar, now your mood goes down. And another thing that maybe she didn't mention is guilt from sin. When you have sinned a lot, you may feel guilty for your sin, and it may affect how you even relate with others, and it may distort your mood, your happiness, and sadness. So those are things that you can also work on.
Thank you very much. So those who have questions, please, you can come forward as I talk about this book. Mind, character, and personality. The church has not left us in darkness, and there are some emotional problems mentioned here. Guilt, grief, worry and anxiety, fear, depression, controversy, pain, anger, hatred and revenge, imaginations. So if you are interested, Mind, Character and Personality, Ellen G. White Estate, and you can have a copy at ABC, Adventist Book Centers countrywide.
Happy Sabbath, church. Happy day. Kwa nataka kuuliza, I hear so much about bipolar. Is it a mental case or a disorder?
Asante sana. Bipolar is a serious mood disorder. In fact, bipolar means pole, from pole. We know North Pole and South Pole. So bipolar is when someone has a manic episode. We are saying here that you will identify someone is mentally disturbed when they are sad. Now these ones have extremes. You can be extremely low, very sad, depressed, you want to be alone, you don't want to talk, no appetite, such kinds of things. And then you have a manic attack, let's say in 4 days. It can take 4 days, 1 week or more. Someone has excess energy. no desire for sleep, grandiose, whatever Giles was saying, you talk big, you think big, you take unnecessary risks. This way, when this manic attack gets you, someone can even buy a car, can take a loan, buy a car, buy things that he had no plans for. In short, there is a season for high energy, a lot of energy. And then there's a season for low energy. So these are two poles. High energy, low energy. We call that bipolar. And we do not diagnose it quickly. It must take time. You visit a mental health professional to diagnose. And then there's still another one called unipolar. Unipolar means one mood. Someone has a depressed mood most of the time. Now that's what we call depression. But bipolar, extreme energy and extreme low energy. There's such a thing. All right. Thank you, Grace.
Mental health has been ignored for many years. And actually, recently the government has come to the help of most of our people, because you realize when somebody is at the extreme, the question is, how do you diagnose this person? Could it be in your family? Could it be in church here? I'm just going to talk about the medical aspect, or how do we help out? I think that's what was not captured, that the government is actually out to educate people on how to identify these people and refer them. Because when you hear about rehab for a long time has been drugs. Yeah, you hear rehab, you think this is somebody who is drunk and is going to be intoxicated. It is not, it's bringing back the person. You know, you can be so depressed, what my sister has talked, to an extent that you can't help yourself. There is a question we ask when we teach psychology, that somebody who is so depressed, at what time do you want to assist the person to come back? Is there a time? I think what we are hearing is that there are those symptoms that comes up. Now let's come to our church these days. We talk about economy. Recently, when COVID hit our country, people changed lifestyle. Can you imagine somebody who was living in Muthaiga, he has to relocate to Githurai? Can you imagine? And your children are asking you, Daddy, unatuchukua wapi? I don't have money. You know, some children cannot understand. So the stress we are having from children, what about the dad? The wife and the children are looking at dad saying, what do you do? Now, the best way the man can do is just to disappear from the house, or to just, is out. So what happens is that the government has a way out. There are drugs that are being given. We have psychologists who can be able to advise. And if you realize even yourself, it's very important that you actually seek help. Here in church, do we actually know, or do we have support groups? I remember when we started from our church up there, tulikuwa pages tatu, Elonge, where is it? When I'm not there, people will know that Nyamongo is not here. A delegation will be sent tomorrow. If my brother here doesn't come because he's so much down, Hana Pesa, he was sacked last week. Do we have support groups in church? And I suggest probably we need to strengthen the regional meetings. How do we call them? Prayer cells. The prayer cells are very good. Elder Calvin's, I think if he was here, I would hail him. This is where we identify actually the situation of our brothers and sisters in their homes. There are some parents, some families who don't eat. So it's very hard, because the church has come so big, even here. So there are social issues that ranges from money issue. We have our young children who make mistakes in choosing. They land onto a relationship, and I think my sister was talking about, they are unable to come out. Now, who can identify? The parents are not here, and the brothers are not here, the sisters are not here. So I think as a church, that's our role, that we need to reach to them, such that even some of them hang themselves. I saw in KU the other time, a student who graduated, parents have gone, amewambia nakucha. Kumbe he had a relationship with a police officer, hapa Kahawa. And parents are at home, na that man alimweka kwa nyumba, actually alichoma, akampatia sijui, and he killed the lady. Hapa Kahawa. And sometimes the choices, so sometimes depression from the man, because the lady said, I don't want this man, I don't want you. I've got that degree, I've got to go. So sometimes support groups would be very handy in helping. So in short, I wanted to say is that there is a medical intervention to when we identify our friends are in such a situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as he was talking, I've remembered something called rumination. We know ruminants, animals that chew cud. They eat in the morning, the whole night, they're achieving the same thing over and over. So rumination, in line with forgiveness, when things have happened to you, not necessarily to do with people hurting you, even things, bad things that are causing you sadness, no energy, you may find yourself ruminating. When you talked of relationships, when your partner leaves you, betrays you, you may be tempted to ruminate. So when you ruminate is when you churn over and over the negative things that have happened to you. So something bad happened to you, you think about it the whole day, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 months, you are ruminating. And yet you know in 3 weeks or so, a habit becomes ingrained in our brains. So trying to become positive again is a journey. So as much as we can, when things have happened, let's accept, talk to someone, exercise, release energy, seek professional help. Let's go to Mathare. Mathare is a hospital. The stigma is going down. And even these days, men who are empowered are getting out and seeking help. Ladies who have issues, go to Mathare, talk to someone. I know rumination is very common. You may be doing your things, washing a cup, and then you remember, how could she do this? Or maybe you are at work, you are driving a car, and you remember, how could she do this? How could he? That is ruminating. And it ends up leading to depression and such kinds of problems. Martin?
Asante, nataka kuongezea pia hapo. Kuna kitu alitaja akasema saa zingine ni mzuri kukumbuka vitu ulikuwa gratitude. Acha niongee juu ya gratitude. Gratitude ni saa zile uko na shida mingi, umefikiria mambo mingi, uko na lot of challenge. But sasa akili yako inafikiria the good. Inaweza kuwa hard, but I think you na work. Saa zile uko na so many issues, try to bring your mind to think about the good things which zile uko nazo licha ya ile mambo unapitia. For example, the children, uangalie tu watoto wako useme Mungu amenipea watoto. But hizo stress unapitia ati financial and so forth, lakini angalia, yes, I'm going through this, but God has given me these children, unawaona. Hiyo inaitwa gratitude. In fact, inakurelieve from your problem. Number 2, uanze kufanya kitu ulikuwa unapenda kufanya practically. For example, mimi nilikuwa napenda kucheza ball, na bado nikiwa mdogo nimecheza tu ball sana. Saa zile niko na vitu mingi kwa akili, naenda kucheza ball. kama kesho nitaenda kucheza ball, si ati juu niko na mambo mengi sana but nitaenda. Hiyo kitu na relieve sana so much. So try to think of doing something ile inakufurahisha, your hobby. Try to do, kama ni swimming, try kuenda swimming. Sasa hilo kuna hiyo issue. In fact ukitoka swimming ama ukitoka hiyo ball, akili imerudi vizuri kidogo, imechangamka kidogo, na pali huko sasa hiyo huko umepatana na my friends, muongea stories zingine tena mmesahau. Mwisho kabisa narudi sasa kwa church. Wewe jiulize vile umekaa hapa. Are you contributing to a person's mental issue? Sisi wote ni binadamu. Lakini kuna kitu unafanya kwa hii church. You are contributing to another person's mental problem. Unaletea mtu stress. For example, kama ni kuongea vitu and so forth, kuongea mastori hazijulikani, hauna proof and so forth, na huyo mtu anasikia ati stories zake zilikuwa zinaongewa, anaendelea kuwa na so much stress, anasikia stories zake zinaongea juu ya familia yake and so forth, na bado tu mwenye anaongea ni watu wako kwa hii church. Wewe jiulize, have you contributed to a person's mental issue? Na ukijijibu hiyo swali utaanza kuona yenyewe, if I stop what I'm doing, watu wengine watarudi, akili zao zitarudi mzuri. That's why alileta mambo ya forgiveness. Wacha tukue watu rahisi kuforgive each other. Kama umesikia umekosea mwenzako kwa church, enda tu jipeleke kwa huyo mwenzako, mwambie yenyewe nilifanya hivi, nisamee. Hiyo kitu nasaidia mental, na mnakuwa marafiki vizuri. Vile tu Biblia inatufundisha Peter vile alienda akaomba msamaha. But ukikalia nayo mnakaa ngumu at sijui ya muongeleshani and so forth etc. Hiyo inaendelea contribute to mental problem. Na vile inaendelea contribute, spread even to your home. Spread even to your friends. So for me, conclusion here, sometimes ile tuko na issue with our friends and etc. Let's try to forgive each other. Inasaidia our mental growth so much. Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana Martin. There's something called OCD. Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. And this one is characterized by compulsions and obsessions. Being obsessed is when you think of something too much. And then compulsion, you feel you have to do this thing. Common examples, you have closed the door. Unalala kidogo unakumbuka nilifunga kweli. You go back. And then you check 6 times before you sleep. Compulsion. And then there's also hoarding. Maybe ladies suffer from this hoarding. Hoarding is when you keep things that you may not even use. So you have so much of those things and you know. So there you are with pairs of shoes, clothes tangu 10 years ago, and you know you are not going to use those things. So when it is too much, you may qualify for OCD. On a light note. Another one is fear of contamination or contracting an illness. And therefore, you have extreme cleanliness. You wipe surfaces, you wash your hands so many times. Maybe COVID brought this about. When it is too much, that can lead to OCD. Welcome, Mary.
Happy Sabbath. Please allow me to speak while I'm sitting. I'm not feeling too well. But anyway, my contribution was, when we are talking about health, in the Adventist Church, we emphasize the new start. And there's the part where we talk about sunshine. So sunshine is also very important for all of us, even when you're depressed. Like you feel like you want to stay in the house, it's just enough to walk into the sunshine. It gives you some new energy and it helps you. So let's not forget about sunshine. The other thing I wanted to talk about is counseling. Most of us think we only need a counselor if we have a problem. but that is not true. A counselor is someone we can go to even today when we don't have a problem. Because like now, I don't know where each one of us came from, Cindy, but depending on where you come from, where your life has thrown you, sometimes you may not have what we would like to call a problem, but you have an issue adjusting. So we don't think about it as a problem, but we need someone just to help us find ourselves, our true identity. Like if you came from, let's say, even, let me talk about my experience here. Like the way I grew up in Kahawa and Kahawa today, when I'm coming home, it's like I'm lost. It's not the same place. So it might interfere with my everyday life without my knowledge. So what if you visit a counselor, they help you break down some of those issues that we don't even know we have. So a counselor is not someone you visit just because you have a problem. And the reason I wanted to emphasize that is because most of us even fear, even when we have a problem, to visit, because people will think maybe we are going. But a counselor, let me just emphasize, a counselor is someone we need to see, all of us. Like when you're a young lady, you get married, all of a sudden you have 4 people, your children, your husband, and it changes. Your identity changes, and so much is upon you. And I may not be able to prepare you as a friend, or a parent may not be able to prepare you. So when you sit down with someone, and a counselor is someone who's been trained to keep your secret. So there's no danger of me worrying if I'll find my story everywhere. Cindy? Yeah, so let's talk to counselors and get the assistance we need.
Kidogo tu. Ambassadors wenye wako, please, hapo tu nyuma, you have your meeting going on. If you're here and you're an ambassador, please.
And for the issue where we think counseling is expensive, which it is, there are counselors who are willing to do it free, and there are groups that help people. All you need to do is reach out.
Yes.
So before Jael contributes, Mato mentioned gossip. And sure, the church should be an ideal place where you come find comfort, peace, support. But that may not happen realistically. And I'll go back to what I said. If you cannot control what other people do, control your response. People talk. You'll not go shutting their mouths. You'll not zip them. I know at first it is very hard. You may even feel the earth should open, then you go in. They will talk, my friend. But find coping mechanisms. Find things to keep you going. Even when you are put down, when things are not working, when you are not the best wherever you are, just know the Lord made you for a certain reason. There's a place where you fit. Now about reaction. I have come to learn, even if you have sinned, yes, you have done things. Or maybe you've not even done. When you are being persecuted falsely, people will talk. What do? I have learned, people will talk today, new things will come up, and they'll talk about those new things. So change your reaction. Let them talk, know it. If you want to ask. If you don't want, just don't give a damn. Go on with your life. But if they talk, and then it affects how you behave, it means they are controlling your life. If we can talk and then you stop coming to church, who is controlling you? The people who are talking, the gossips. If we can talk and then you change your way of doing things, then all those people are controlling you. If there's something you can do, do it. If there's nothing you can control, especially about other people, control how you feel. Now that's where you go back to gratitude. That's where you go back to counting your blessings. That's where you go back to your strengths, and they keep you going. But if people talk about you in 2022, you crash. 2020, you crash. For how long will you crash? Take charge, change your reactions. Welcome, Jael.
Any question? So, and another thing I want to add on is, I don't know if we are becoming a little bit less resilient, because nowadays you just have a little small stress and it puts us down very quickly. And I have seen many people diagnosing themselves with depression and they're just a little bit stressed. Just a little stress and you have started thinking that you have depression. Just like she has said, let us learn to build a little more resilience. The people of the world will say nobody owes you anything. It's actually true. It's only you who owes the world things. And that is the love of Christ and to take Christ to the whole world. And there are things that happen to us as we are growing up, and we try to avoid them because we are good African children and good Africans. So we avoid them, and they keep happening and they keep happening. And they affect how we respond to others. They make us harsh, they make us selfish. They change how we are. Because they have been happening in our families, we continue with the same traditions, and we do not face them. And we keep avoiding them because we are true Africans, and Africans, we are always out here to help each other. But that even when a parent has wronged you, even when you are a big person, you do not tell them you have wronged me, and you sit down and you talk about it. We avoid confrontations, but we keep bitterness in ourselves. We were brought up in a way that maybe now as you've grown up, you find that it was not the ideal way. You have bitterness against your parents, against your relatives. And there's always a saying that relatives from the father side are the worst. We have issues with people, especially our family, and because we can't really do away with family, we live with them but with bitterness. So it's like we are living in avoidance, and we are not confronting the real issue, maybe confronting it and letting it go, confronting it, asking for forgiveness and letting it go and moving on. So we live with bitterness. And that is an area, if you go to counselors, they will tell you that is an area that you need to work on, either by confronting it or letting go completely. So as we come to the end of today's discussion, these are the things that we can summarize our discussion with. The only ways, these are some of the ways we can overcome mental health issues. And just like Mary said, mental health when we say you are not having a good mental health, does not mean we think you are going bonkers. No, we just mean at that point you are not operating in the maximum, in your optimum ability. So number one is eating healthy. They are actually foods that improve mood because they have vitamins and hormones and biochemicals that help in forming the feel-good hormones in our body. So like tryptophans, those foods that have tryptophans, they are good in boosting our mood. And for some of those medicines that are mood stabilizers, that is what they use to make them. So if we eat healthy, if we eat good foods, do your research, you will find that your mood has improved. You have become a better person. Number two is exercise. Exercise increases our energy. It helps us release feel-good hormones. And it relieves steam. I don't know. There are people who say that if somebody wrongs them and they go out and exercise, when they come back, it's like the steam has gone. They can now talk rationally to that person. We can try that. And by the way, exercise does not need to be you go for a run. You can just do dishes. See any exercise. You can mop, you can wash. That is actually exercise. Yeah, it's exercise. And some studies have shown that for people who are depressed, if they wake up, they do dishes, they clean the house, their mood actually improves. So doing dishes, doing house chores is actually exercise. It can improve our mood. And another thing is doing what we are good at. You know, sometimes when we are sad, when we have failed, when we have been, we have gone through so many things, we may feel like we are not good at anything. But there is always that one good thing everybody knows they are good at. Do it. It will improve your mood. Do it. And another thing is music therapy. But when it comes to music, you have to be careful to the type of music you listen to. You cannot listen to pop music and expect that it will boost your mood. There's good Christian music that can uplift us and even draw us closer to God and reveal the character of God to us and his love for us, and it will improve our mood. And another thing is connecting with friends. We were created to be social beings by God. I don't know why we find being social beings a hindrance. It's very important for us to connect with friends and even family that we are comfortable with and share with them. You might not even share your problems with them, but when you come together and share in their joy, you will find that your mood has improved. And of course, the ultimate of it all is having Christ as our friend. You can actually have Christ to be all that you need. Even when you feel lonely, there are times when we pass through things that not even our spouses can understand. But Christ understands. He created us. He knows. In Psalms 139, it says that even before I have formed a thought in my mind, he already knows what the thought is. He understands us. He knows we are going through a difficult time. If we can make him our best friend and talk to him as a friend, surely, why can't he improve us? So those are the parting shots, unless there's anything else. I hope we have taken note. Yes? One last one.
I was waiting for someone to mention it. For me, that's one of the most powerful tools to have a proper state of mind. It is prayer and the study of the Word of God. I find that if I consistently pray and I consistently study the Word of God, even my moods are normally different. Even the way I relate with people, even the worries that come to my head, I am more resilient to stress. So I think that is another thing, maybe a very powerful one. If we consistently study the Word of God, we will find that even our mental state of mind will be improved. If we pray consistently, our minds and our mental state will be improved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm always a champion of reading. Read, read, read. You are not the first to go through this. You are not the last. Read the Bible, read good books, pray. So I will leave you with 2 verses. 3 John verse 2. It says, Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health just as your soul prospers. Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health just as your soul prospers. Philippians 4:7. The last verse, Philippians 4:7. And the peace of God which surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds through